Hello everyone, my name is Ian and you're watching Big Rock Moto. Thank you so much for tuning in. If you're new here and you like this kind of content, I hope you'll consider subscribing. Today I'm in Las Vegas, Nevada at the AIM Expo, one of the only remaining motorcycle shows in the United States these days. We're going to check out some brand new exciting motorcycle models, some cool motorcycle parts and accessories. So why don't you follow along with me? I think it's going to be a lot of fun, so let's go. All right, so a lot of AIM Expo is really dedicated to parts companies, dealers. It's about connecting dealerships and distributors with parts companies and manufacturers. So a lot of it's really geared towards that. So I'll kind of give you a little walk around and show you some of the stuff here. There's a couple of themes you're going to notice as well. Companies from Asia, especially China, are really trying to get a foothold in the United States in terms of motorcycle companies with actual bikes, but also parts. I think about all the small parts and engine parts and riding gear and luggage and all that kind of stuff like that. They're trying to get established here for that, and it's an onslaught. Like, there's a lot. And I'm not saying it's good or bad. I'm just telling you what's here. So I can show you a little bit of that, and then we'll take a look at some cool new motorcycle models and some cool new products as well. Tire companies here, like Heidenau's here. I know Bridgestone's also here. Metzler, some of the other tire companies as well. There's Mitas tires over here. Suzuki's here, so this is really cool to see Suzuki here. So I'm going to do some separate videos on these bikes, but you've got, like, here's the GSX-S, and then here's the new, I think this is what, the R? Yeah, the 8R, GSX-8R right there. GSX-8S, so you've got the sport bike version, you've got the naked bike version. Here's the VStrom 800DE Adventure. And this is kind of one of the hot new bikes they have here at the show. This is the GSX-S1000GX Plus. So the name is a mouthful, but you get the idea. It's basically a crossover or kind of adventure style upright bike using that famous four-cylinder engine that they're using for everything. So this is a really promising bike and one that I'm going to be reviewing in depth very soon on the channel. Triumph is here, so that's really cool. They've got some of their scramblers. They've got the new 400s, which are really, really cool. And I hope to get on these this year for some in-depth reviews. There's the Speed 400 right here. I think they're going to be really successful with this smaller platform. Here's the new Triumph motocross bike. This is really amazing that Triumph decided to get into dirt bikes. What an awesome thing to have. The new updated 2024 Tiger 900s. These are really, really nice. I especially like this new color scheme, but they've updated the engine, more power. They've done a pretty thorough update of this bike, and it's the most premium, well-equipped mid-size adventure bike that you can buy. I would really love to have one of these for myself. So I can kind of show you these new Dusk bags, or DUSC. So the mechanism's really nice on here. This material is actually flexible, and you can stand on these or whatever. So we'll show that. But it's pretty cool. And then they open up, so they're kind of like the best of a hard case and the best of a soft case all in one. It looks like a hard case, and it has a nice kind of minimal design. You also don't have to use the key to get in and out of them, so you can leave it unlocked, and this mechanism kind of clicks in. So that's good. I don't know if you can kind of see, but they have flexibility to them. So I think these are going to be a hit for SW-Motech. These are really, really good. And then their racks are quick release, that they have. Let me show you the WP. I'm going to start using these tank bags on my builds. This is the micro WP. It's a 4-liter bag. The thing is, it's waterproof, and it's the quick release system. So it's the one that clicks on the bike, like that. So there's no straps. So these are the best tank bags in the world, in my opinion, period, end of story, because they're waterproof, easy in and out, and they don't have any straps because they use the tank rings. So anyway, highly recommend checking those out. Those are the assist bags, which I've shown on the channel. And then coming later, maybe this summer or the fall, maybe they have handguards coming out, metal handguards. So it's going to be cool to see that. All right, I'm here at the Kove booth, so a couple of exciting bikes. We already know about the 450 Rally. We'll show that in a second. This is not how the production one's going to look, but this is the 800 twin cylinder version, so super lightweight, really interesting new model. You can see the kind of shares the front end design with the 450. So this is going to be super interesting. I believe it's based on a derivative of the KTM 790 engine design. So really lightweight. I think it's quoted to be under 400 pounds. So that's going to be super exciting. They've got dirt bikes, things like that. And then of course here, we've got the one that everybody kind of talks about, which is the 450 Rally. And let me know, I'm planning to buy one of these this summer because they're finally doing the 50-state street legal version coming here to the USA, so I can actually ride it on the roads and everything legally. So I'm planning to get one, but let me know, yes, no, maybe, what your thoughts are. I mean, it's a rally style bike, so the seat's really tall. You have a lot of fuel capacity. You've got the rally style fairings. You've got room up here to mount navigation devices, road books, or things like that. You have long travel suspension by Yuan, which I believe also owns Showa. So actually the relationships there get interesting. Pretty cool components, pretty amazing design, and nobody else builds a bike, a motorcycle like this right now that you can buy. You could buy KTM 690 or Husky 701 and build it up like this, but you'd be into it for 15 grand. And this is gonna be around $9,000. You can see the twin fuel tanks here. It doesn't come with the Scots, of course, but pretty amazing. All right, so I'm here with one of the hottest bikes at the show, the CFMOTO Ibex 450. Now, a lot of people have been asking for a small, lightweight, twin-cylinder adventure bike, and no other company has answered this question until now. So you have here a parallel twin engine. I'm going to read you the specs. 2-cylinder liquid-cooled, 270-degree crank. So what that means is that it's going to have more character, and it's going to sound better than a lot of the engines that use 180-degree crankshaft. It's about 44 horsepower, 33 pound-feet of torque. The seat height is only 32.3 inches, so that's really reasonable. 4.6 gallons of fuel. The weight is 386 pounds. I don't know if that's wet or dry weight though. 200 millimeters of suspension travel, so about what a T7 has, or a Transalp, something like that, or a GS. You've got J1 brakes, you've got dual channel ABS with a button on the handlebars, 21/18 wheel set, and get this guys, tubeless rims on this bike. I mean, come on, Honda can't do that on a Transalp, and yet here we are. And did I mention the price? It's going to be around $6,500 for this thing. So I think it's going to be insanely popular. And this is going to come out in the fall of 2024. And I'll probably purchase one for the channel to do a long-term series on, but let me know if that's something you're interested in. And yes, CFMOTO is a Chinese motorcycle manufacturer. What else? LED lighting, 5-inch TFT, you've got Bluetooth, riding modes, you have an adjustable windshield, folding mirrors, USB outlets. So pretty much, you do tires, some skid plate, some handguards, and you'd pretty much be ready to go. This is really, really exciting. Jumping on the bike here, you can see the seat, the grab rails, the fuel tank. So let me show you how it looks kind of from the cockpit here. So you can see the tank actually, I don't know if this is just plastic or under here, I think it's just kind of a fairing, but this is quite a bit of wind coverage here. You can see my knees and where this is coming out. That's pretty good. The overall wind protection looks pretty impressive, and you've got this crank up and down. I do worry about this mechanism getting dirty, but you've got a GPS bar, the TFT I mentioned, folding mirrors. I mean, you can see some of the controls here. I like this dedicated ABS button on off, hazard lights. I mean, you guys, these Chinese companies are killing it, and they are coming. It's everywhere at this show. And look, we have a CFMOTO that's bringing us a bike that no other manufacturer has dared to bring us yet. So I'm super excited about it. I know there's going to be pros and cons like there always are, and I know it's not going to be perfect, I'm sure, but I'm super excited. This is their 800NK. I've seen some other reviews on this machine. Really, really beautiful looking in person, really impressive. Pretty good power figures, really good equipment. This is a bike I'd love to get my hands on for testing. I guess this would be like a more affordable version of like a Duke 890 or something kind of in that category, but pretty impressive looking here in person. Friends from Nelson Rigg and Rigg Gear Adventure. So what I'm looking forward to are these waterproof tail bags like this. I'm definitely going to get some of these for my bikes. It's the same tail bag I've been using a lot, but it's now waterproof. So this is Kawasaki's E1. It's an electric, fully electric sport bike. Pretty innovative, amazing stuff here that we have. Now, of course, all the typical stuff that everyone is worried about with range and charging, yes, that still applies. I can show you the specs here. So $75.99, and you can see all this online, but the problem that people have is this battery range, 40 miles. I mean, it depends on how you're riding it. So yeah, that's a sticking point for people. The problem is, in a car, you can put, a huge tray of batteries under a car. There's room for that. In a motorcycle, where are you going to put the batteries? They take up too much room. You can't fit a big enough battery on a motorcycle to give it substantial enough range. That's the challenge that they're up against. And over here we have their hybrid model, which is incredibly unique and innovative. So it's gas and electric powered, which is really amazing. And you can check this out on Kawasaki's website. I just can't get enough of this new color scheme on the Tiger 900. This gray and orange and black. I don't know. I really want one of these guys. I'm just trying to justify it. So here we have the new Moto Guzzi Stelvio. So they have the V100 Mandello, right? And you've got the new engine. Now they put it into an adventure bike setup. I think this is going to be incredible and pretty popular. I mean, Moto Guzzi, you get the beautiful styling, really nice components, the Italian design. You get the very unique, transverse mounted V-twin engine. This bike has a lot of interesting stuff, adjustable windshield. Of course, it's got cruise control. I believe this has, if I'm not mistaken, radar adaptive cruise control as well. It has some other really cool tech features. Of course, it's shaft drive. You have a lot of power here. It's really, if you want a big adventure bike and you want to be different, I think this is really a good option to look at, and really hope to get this one for testing. Now, one thing to me that shows it's not really going to be for the hardcore off-road guys. I mean, you've got, the engine obviously here on the sides. You have the foot pegs mounted into the engine. So again, not really going to be competitive with maybe a GS in terms of some of the off-road stuff, but what a beautiful motorcycle. One of the most exciting bikes here at the show is this new Moto Morini X-Cape 1200. So I'll put up some footage here, obviously, but let me go through the specs real quick. It's one of the most interesting things to me, besides the striking design, is that this is a V-twin engine. They're not going with the same old boring parallel twin. V-twin engine, and they're developing the engine, and that's a huge commitment, and really impressed to see that. It's 1187 cc. About 123 horsepower is what they're claiming. Suspension travel is around 6.5 inches, so this is really a road-oriented adventure tour, so it's kind of an adventure-styled crossover bike. It's going to be used for touring and sport touring primarily. You've got Brembo brakes, really 320 millimeter discs up front. You have tubeless spoked wheels, so it is interesting that they went with the spoked wheels, but they are tubeless. You've got a curb weight of about 551 pounds. Seat height is pretty reasonable, 33.8 inches. 7-inch color TFT, riding modes, cruise control, traction control, blind spot radar, quick shifter, cornering ABS, tire pressure monitoring, Bluetooth, navigation. I mean, you get it. One thing that these newer companies are really good with is putting a lot of tech on the bikes for the price. So we don't know the pricing on this yet. If we do, I'll put it here below. But the X-Cape 1200, one of the most interesting bikes, in my opinion, here at the show.
Hi, I'm John Griffin with Moto Morini Motorcycles USA. This is the X-Cape 1200. It's going to be a 2025 model. Really excited about it. Some of the big features on this, it's the engine. It's a 1200cc V-twin, 87-degree engine. We have the top level electronics, Bosch electronics package on this. So full 6-axis, lean angle ABS, cornering traction control, 4 ride modes, electric, looks like windshield. We've got cruise control, a full featured package. Good power, 123 horsepower, tons of torque on the V-twin, fully adjustable suspension front and rear. We've got Pirelli tires, tubeless spoke rims, also the Brembos, monoblock calipers, steel braided lines, so top of the line features. We don't have a price set on this unit, but we are expecting to be very value priced, coming in probably thousands cheaper than some of our competitors with names that you're more familiar with. This is our Moto Morini Corsaro Sport. This is a 750cc V-twin. It's a 90-degree V-twin. It's rated at 96 horsepower. So we're going to have a really fun motorcycle with an awesome package. Pretty cool in that it has a unique cast aluminum front section of the frame with a steel trellis rear section of the frame. Some very exquisite design on this bike with the fairing. It's got the upper end Brembo caliper, monoblock calipers with the nice high-end master cylinders as well. It'll have the top level Bosch suites of electronics as well. So we're looking at some great performance on this, fully adjustable suspension. Even the ride height is adjustable on the shock. It's got a remote hand adjuster for the preload, and twin mufflers are pretty sexy as well. So we also have a naked version of this. So this will be our Corsaro Sport, and the Corsaro will be the naked version.
So here at Suzuki again, if the VStrom 800DE is not your style because you don't want to do much off-road, but if those 8Rs and 8Ss and stuff are too sporty for you, Suzuki now has the VStrom 800. They're just calling it the 800. I think in other countries maybe they call this the RE. I've seen it listed different ways, but pretty cool. So you've got cast wheels, and it's down to a 19-inch front wheel. But right, you can see the similarities with the VStrom 800DE, right? Except for that front wheel, and of course you've got shorter suspension. You've got a much larger windshield that comes standard on this. And Suzuki's very aggressive, of course, with their pricing. So you can see here $98.99 for this bike. So that's going to be a pretty appealing option for a lot of people. So this is the VStrom 800DE Adventure. So you get the aluminum side cases, you get the skid plate, and the crash bars. I mean, I'll tell you, if you're going to get one of these 800DEs, I'd probably buy the Adventure model. It's not a huge amount more money, as you can see here, but getting all that stuff off the bat is pretty valuable. All right, so this is definitely an exciting new model here at the show. This is the Suzuki GSX-S1000GX. I think there's a plus at the end of that, but I can't remember. Anyway, basically what Suzuki's done is they've taken the good old, I think they call it the K5 motor that you've been seeing out there, that they've used in a lot of bikes. Super great engine, super reliable as well. So I reviewed the GSX-S1000GT last year on the channel. That was a lot of people watched that review. That's a sport touring bike with kind of a lean forward riding position. The difference with the GX is where you're getting more technology, more equipment, some different components, but it's an upright riding position. So it's another one of these kind of upright sport touring bikes, which I think is really, really good because personally, I don't really like to be leaned over like on clip-on bars. The riding position of this, I'll show you here in a second, is really nice. You get the great motor. It has electronic suspension. It has cruise control. It has a lot of the features you want. I can give you some of the spec. Obviously, quick shifter, electronic suspension. We talked about that. 511 pounds, fully fueled up, wet weight. Carries 5 gallons of fuel. It's coming in at $18,500. So this is going to compete with some of those higher end crossover bikes, maybe like Yamaha's Tracer 9 GT, kind of in that category, but not up there with like the Multistradas and the S1000 XRs, not quite to that price level. So interesting new model from Suzuki, and I'm going to be doing a full test on this year. One product I did want to highlight, a lot of you are going to be excited about this if you watch my content, Arai's new XD5. So finally we have a fully updated, brand new, completely overhauled dual sport helmet from Arai. This is going to hit the market here in the next couple months. Arai supports my Big Rock Moto, and they are going to be sending me one for testing on the channel, so I appreciate that. You can see they have a lot of different color options here. I think I'm getting this one here. They call it Mojave Sage. So that's pretty cool. They have all your graphics. So some of the things they've done, it's all new helmet. You can see the front vent is much wider. The face shield now has you can see here a pin lock provision. So you can put a pin lock in the face shield now, which is great. They've redone the vents, they've redone the visor. Also, it's toolless removal of the visor part, so you don't need tools to get that off. I've tried it on. I fit the same as I do in my current Arai, so they seem like they've kept the sizing and the shell shape really consistent. It's going to be amazing. I think this is going to be a huge hit, and it probably will be the new leader in dual sport helmets. Considering that the XD4 is already over 10 years old and it's still one of the leaders, you can bet this new helmet is probably going to be really, really impressive. Right, well, I forgot to film an outro at the show, so here we are back at the studio. Thanks for watching. I hope you enjoyed the recap of AIM Expo 2024 in Las Vegas, Nevada. There's a few themes that I have come away with after attending the show. One is that I think small adventure bikes under 500cc and under around that 400-pound mark are finally going to have their day in the sun. I think we're seeing that right now with some of these models coming out, and I'm super excited for it. I think that's exactly what we need to have. The next thing I really came away with is that the Chinese motorcycle manufacturers are coming on very, very strong, and they seem to be very, very serious about getting established here in the United States. Whether you think that's good or bad, that's up to you. I'm personally excited about it. I think more competition is good, and I'm excited to see where they're going. Some of the models that we saw here at the show are really super exciting and innovative and forward-thinking, and in person they felt pretty high quality. They're going to have work to do, obviously, to catch up with the other manufacturers that had more of a head start. But this kind of reminds me of how people perceived Japanese products here in the United States some decades ago. So just an interesting parallel there. Another segment or another trend that I noticed, is I think the crossover adventure segment, is coming into play, because you see the sport touring bikes kind of evolving into these adventure styled sport touring bikes. They're still designed for road riding. So things like the GSX-GX, the Tracer 900, Kawasaki's Versys 1000. I think these are going to continue to gain in popularity as people kind of get away from more traditional sport touring and touring bikes. And I think that's a good thing. All right, well, let me know, what bikes do you want to see here at Big Rock Moto in 2024 for in-depth reviews, whether I get them, whether I borrow them for a few weeks, or whether I buy them for long-term testing. Let me know what those bikes are that you're most excited to see. I'd really like to know, because it helps me plan out my future content. Thank you so much for watching. Ride safe, and I'll see you out there.